Hello and welcome to A Course in Miracles in Practice. We're so pleased you're here to delve into the practical application of the Course. Each day, we consider a new lesson from the workbook with the intention of bringing its wisdom into our lives in tangible ways.
Nice to have you back.
Great to be here.
We're going to start by reading today's lesson, as usual.
Okay.
You've probably noticed the lessons are getting longer, so we'll take about 5 minutes.
Sounds good.
Lesson 132, I loose the world from all I thought it was.
What keeps the world in chains but your beliefs? And what can save the world except yourself? Belief is influential indeed. The thoughts you hold are mighty, and illusions are as strong in their effects as is the truth. A madman thinks the world he sees is real and does not doubt it. Nor can he be swayed by questioning his thoughts' effects. It is but when their source is raised to question that the hope of freedom comes to him at last.
2. Yet is salvation easily achieved? For anyone is free to change his mind, and all his thoughts change with it. Now the source of thought has shifted. For to change your mind means you have changed the source of all ideas you think or ever thought or yet will think. You free the past from what you thought before. You free the future from all ancient thoughts of seeking what you do not want to find.
The present now remains the only time. Here in the present is the world set free. For as you let the past be lifted and release the future from your ancient fears, you find escape and give it to the world. You have enslaved the world with all your fears, your doubts and miseries, your pain and tears, and all your sorrows press upon it and keep it a prisoner to your beliefs. Death strikes it everywhere because you hold the bitter thought of death within your mind.
4. The world is nothing in itself. Your mind must give it meaning. And what you behold upon it are your wishes, acted out so you can look on them and think them real. Perhaps you think you did not make the world but came unwillingly to what was made already, hardly waiting for your thoughts to give it meaning. Yet in truth, you found precisely what you looked for when you came. There's no world apart from what you wish, and herein lies your ultimate release. Change but your mind on what you want to see, and all the world must change accordingly.
5 ideas leave not their source. This central theme is often stated in the text and must be borne in mind if you would understand the lesson for today. It is not pride which tells you that you made the world you see and that it changes as you change your mind, but it is pride that argues you have come into a world quite separate from yourself, impervious to what you think and quite apart from what you chance to think it is.
6. There is no world. This is the central thought the Course attempts to teach. Not everyone is ready to accept it, and each one must go as far as he can let himself be led along the road to truth. He will return and go still farther, or perhaps step back a while and then return again.
But healing is the gift of those who are prepared to learn there is no world and can accept the lesson now. Their readiness will bring the lesson to them in some form which they can understand and recognize. Some see it suddenly on point of death and rise to teach it. Others find it an experience that is not of this world, which shows them that the world does not exist because what they behold must be the truth, and yet it clearly contradicts the world.
And some will find it in this course and in the exercises that we do today. Today's idea is true because the world does not exist, and if it is indeed your own imagining, then you can loose it from all things you ever thought it was by merely changing all the thoughts that gave it these appearances. The sick are healed as you let go all thoughts of sickness. And the dead arise when you let thoughts of life replace all thoughts you ever held of death.
9. A lesson earlier repeated once must now be stressed again, for it contains the firm foundation for today's idea. You are as God created you. There is no place where you can suffer and no time that can bring change to your eternal state. How can a world of time and place exist if you remain as God created you?
10. What is the lesson for today, except another way of saying that to know yourself is the salvation of the world. To free the world from every kind of pain is but to change your mind about yourself. There is no world apart from your ideas because ideas leave not their source, and you maintain the world within your mind and thought.
11. Yet if you are as God created you, you cannot think apart from him, nor make what does not share his timelessness and love. Are these inherent in the world you see? Does it create like him? Unless it does, it is not real and cannot be at all. If you are real, the world you see is false, for God's creation is unlike the world in every way. And as it was, his thought by which you were created, so it is your thoughts which made it and must set it free, that you may know the thoughts you share with God.
12. Release the world. Your real creations wait for this release to give you fatherhood, not of illusions, but as God in truth. God shares his fatherhood with you who are his son, for he makes no distinctions in what is himself and what is still himself. What he creates is not apart from him, and nowhere does the Father end the Son begin as something separate from him.
13. There is no world because it is a thought apart from God, and made to separate the Father and the Son, and break away a part of God himself, and thus destroy his wholeness. Can a world which comes from this idea be real? Can it be anywhere? Deny illusions, but accept the truth. Adonai, you are a shadow briefly laid upon a dying world. Release your mind, and you will look upon a world released.
14. Today our purpose is to free the world from all the idle thoughts we ever held about it, and about all living things we see upon it. They cannot be theirs, no more than we. For we are in the home our Father set for us along with them. And we who are as he created us would loose the world this day from every one of our illusions that we may be free.
15. Begin the 15-minute periods in which we practice twice today with this.
I, who remain as God created me, would loose the world from all I thought it was. For I am real, because the world is not, and I would know my own reality.
Then merely rest, alert but with no strain, and let your mind and quietness be changed, so that the world is freed along with you.
16. You need not realize that healing comes to many brothers far across the world, as well as to the ones you see nearby, as you send out these thoughts to bless the world. But you will sense your own release, although you may not fully understand as yet that you could never be released alone.
17. Throughout the day, increase the freedom sent through your ideas to all the world, and say whenever you are tempted to deny the influence of your simple change of mind.
I loose the world from all I thought it was and choose my own reality instead. That was lesson 132. So let's maybe dig into some of the concepts here. That can be a bit tricky if you haven't grounded yourself in the earlier course lessons first.
Yeah, definitely. Taking something like there is no world totally out of context. It's bound to be misunderstood. You really need that foundation about, levels of reality perception versus the real deal.
Right. And one big one seems to be this whole I create my own reality thing. Sometimes that gets twisted into like, well, my reality is all that counts, and it kind of steamrolls over what other people might be feeling or going through.
Yeah, that's a really common misstep. It's almost the opposite of what the lesson's getting at. The course is constantly pointing towards our shared reality, our connection, dismantling that feeling of being separate. So if you take it as only my reality matters, you're actually like doubling down on the separation. It dismisses everyone else's experience. It's less about us being little gods of our own private universes and more about seeing the collective dream we're in. How does that distinction feel to you?
No, that makes sense. It clarifies why that interpretation always felt a bit off.
Yeah.
It just doesn't line up with the overall unity message. Again, another one is the there is no world line itself. I can see how someone might hear that and think, great, guess I don't need to fix my leaking roof then. Just ignore practical stuff.
It brings up how we bridge these, let's say, metaphysical ideas with just living day to day.
Yeah.
The Course makes a distinction, doesn't it, between the illusory world we perceive and an ultimate reality. So yes, the physical world is part of the illusion, part of the dream, but that doesn't mean you just let the house fall down around you.
Okay.
Dealing with the roof isn't about arguing with the illusion, it's about how you deal with it. Maybe with less panic, less drama. Seeing it as, okay, a practical problem within this current experience, not some cosmic disaster. The shift is internal in your response, not necessarily pretending the leak isn't there.
Got it. So change the relationship to the problem, not deny the problem exists on the level it appears.
Precisely, yeah.
Now, something else that happens. People start getting these concepts, and sometimes a kind of spiritual ego can creep in, like, I get this deep stuff, and most people don't, that superiority thing.
Oh, that is such a sneaky trap, isn't it? Because it directly contradicts one of the most fundamental ideas in the Course, that we're all equal, all part of the same divine self. The moment you start feeling superior or judging someone else's level, you're feeding the ego, The very thing the Course is trying to help us see beyond. Real understanding, I think, leads to more humility, more compassion, recognizing we're all stumbling along the same path, more or less.
The ego just loves to feel special, different. It'll grab onto anything, even spiritual concepts, to create that separation again. It's like building a new status hierarchy, but with enlightenment points.
Well put, yeah. A hierarchy of awakening, and it totally blocks your own progress, of course.
Right, that makes sense.
And then there's it's all illusion, to avoid difficult conversations or responsibilities or just uncomfortable growth opportunities.
Yeah, like a spiritual bypass. Get out of jail free card for anything hard. But, okay, how does that square with things like forgiveness or taking responsibility, which The Course talks about a lot. Aren't those about engaging?
They are, but it's about how you engage. See, the illusion concept isn't a pass to just ghost reality. It's the framework for understanding why things feel hard or painful. It stems from our misperceptions, our judgments.
Okay.
So forgiveness becomes the tool to release those misperceptions about others and about ourselves. And taking responsibility isn't about guilt for messing up a real world. It's about acknowledging our mind's role in creating the experience within the illusion, which is actually empowering, right? Because if your mind contributes to the problem, it can also contribute to the solution. It shifts engagement towards understanding the source.
Right. It's not avoidance. It's engaging from a different level of understanding. I can also picture someone trying to use these ideas very literally for everyday things, like thinking, okay, if I just change my mind, I'll definitely win the lottery now. Applying metaphysical rules to, say, monopoly rules.
Exactly. And that's confusing the levels. It's like trying to use the rules of physics to understand grammar. They both operate within their own contexts. The Course principles work on that deep psychological, spiritual level. Our core beliefs, our perception of reality. Games of chance or, tax laws operate under a completely different set of agreed upon rules within the physical framework. Applying one to the other just doesn't compute, leads to disappointment, and makes the whole thing seem silly. You got to know which map you're using, so to speak.
The right map for the territory. Okay, so when the lesson says, loose the world from all I thought it was, does that mean we're supposed to, reject the physical world? See it as bad or something to escape?
It's more like releasing our grip on it, releasing the meanings and judgments we've plastered all over it. It's not saying the trees in the sky are inherently bad. It's saying release the fear, the lack, the stories of suffering you project onto the world. See it through eyes of forgiveness, maybe even love. It's about transforming your perception of the world, not necessarily getting rid of the physical experience itself. What's the difference for you between rejecting something and just shifting how you see it?
Rejection feels like pushing away, fighting it, which kind of keeps you tied to it, weirdly. Shifting perception feels more internal. The scene might look the same, but the experience of it changes completely. Yeah, that feels closer to the lesson's aim.
I think so too. It gets to the root, the thought behind the image.
Okay, one last one perhaps. Does embracing all this mean you have to switch off your brain? Abandon critical thinking. Is it faith versus thinking?
That's another common misconception, isn't it? That spirituality and intellect are somehow enemies.
Yeah, it comes up a lot. How does the Course handle that?
Well, it doesn't really ask for blind faith. If anything, it asks for a very active mind. It constantly encourages you to look at your thoughts, question your beliefs, examine the ego's logic, which requires quite a bit of discernment, wouldn't you say?
True. It's asking you to think, just maybe differently.
Exactly. It's not about not thinking. It's about thinking beyond the limitations we usually accept. Using your mind to distinguish what's real, the loving unified reality, from the illusion of fear and separation. It invites, I'd say, a more nuanced, expanded way of thinking, integrating intuition perhaps, but definitely not shutting down reason.
So it's really an invitation to think more deeply, not less. So boiling it down, this lesson seems to be a profound call to recognize just how much our own minds, our beliefs, shape our entire experience of the world.
The power of belief.
But also, crucially, remembering that we're not isolated in this. It's about moving towards a shared reality, engaging with what seemed to be out there, but from a place of greater love, forgiveness, and understanding.
Precisely. Recognizing your thoughts' creative influence while simultaneously deepening that sense of connection with everything and everyone. That's the balance.
So maybe something for you, the listener, to reflect on. How might really taking in this idea that the world you see is a reflection and outpicturing of your own mind, how might that genuinely shift the way you approach your day-to-day life, your interactions, the challenges that pop up? Something to consider. Well, that brings us to the end of another exploration.
Certainly does. Seriously, though, thank you for tuning in.
Echo that. We really appreciate you spending this time with us.
We really do. And don't hesitate to connect. ACIM at theworldharmonyproject.org.